Good day, Crime Talk aficionados. We have a great show for you today. First, turns out Kouri Richins, well, she had a boyfriend. Maybe that's the reason why she wanted to kill her husband. Alec Murdaugh, he's getting a new trial. That's my prediction. A reason to get your CrimeTalkSearch.com subscription. A story about a woman claiming to be a Russian police officer who was trying to kidnap a child in California, and our dumb criminal of the day. Let's talk about it.
Hi, lawyer.
Good day, everyone. You know the drill. Subscribe if you haven't, like if you do, leave me a comment below, and hit that little bell for notifications. And yes, you can listen to us anytime on any of your favorite podcasting apps. For those who do not know, my name is Scott Reich, and this is Crime Talk. Yes, a practicing criminal defense attorney for nearly 30 years, ladies and gentlemen, explaining to you about what's going on in the true crime genre. All right, let's go ahead and get to today's docket for August 27th, 2024. But quickly, we are going live tonight. Yes, we've been dealing with some construction around the building, but I think between the dust, the pounding, and the fumes, I think we're going to be good to go. 6 p.m. Mountain Time tonight, so please join us. All right. First on the docket today, accused of killing her husband, Kouri Richins has had a secret lover, according to some testimony heard at her preliminary hearing at the Summit County Courthouse there in Utah. Now, Miss Richins was arrested in May of 2023, accused of poisoning her husband, Eric Richins, with fentanyl-laced Moscow Mule drinks. Later, she self-published a children's book titled, Are You With Me?, about a father depicted with angel wings watching over his young son after his death. Now, the preliminary hearing will continue, obviously, to determine whether there's enough evidence to proceed to trial. Now, for those who do not know, the standard at a preliminary hearing is a very low standard. Would a reasonable person believe that a crime was committed and that the defendant may have had something to do with it? That's it. Probable cause. Well, guess what? A judge has already found that there's probable cause, otherwise she wouldn't have been arrested. So normally what happens is that they put up a detective who gets up there and regurgitates the affidavit for the arrest warrant, and the case gets bound over to the district court. Now, sometimes you do go to a preliminary hearing if you think you're totally innocent, perhaps. Maybe that's a good reason for it. But sometimes a preliminary hearing is a good use of time for everybody involved. Prosecutors don't like to do it because they have to waste the time of the police officers to come to court, or that's the way at least they perceive it. But sometimes it's a very good use of time because the defendant can actually see for themselves that these witnesses are going to come to court and see that this is the evidence that's going to be presented at trial, because sometimes they have this notion that it's just not real, that they're not going to come to trial. They're not going to come testify against me. And so sometimes it's a very good use of time. But the legal standard is the judge must view the evidence in the light most favorable to the prosecution, drawing all inferences in their favor. And at this stage of the proceedings, the court cannot consider affirmative defenses, whether there are issues related to suppression of evidence or statements. It's not to be considered at this stage of the process. Anyway, at the preliminary hearing, a digital forensic expert by the name of Chris Kotordimos took the stand and testified that Kouri Richins sent text messages to a guy by the name of Roger Grossman, her alleged secret boyfriend, just days before her husband passed away. One of the messages ended with, I love you. Now, Kouri Richins and Grossman started exchanging text messages back in November of 2021, and they continued their communications even after Eric Richins' death. Now, the expert verified that on February 14th of 2022, Kouri Richins kept Grossman updated on her expected time of arrival while heading to meet up. It's a day that prosecutors claim she attempted to poison Eric Richins by giving him a sandwich laced with fentanyl. She said she was on her way to see him, according to the expert, and he asked if she was about an hour away, and she said yes and sent him a quick screenshot. Now, the expert also testified that a significant amount of data which was erased from Ms. Richins' cell phone between January and March of 2022, including call logs, text messages, and internet search history. Well, a detective also took the stand and testified about his interview with Richins' housekeeper, a woman by the name of Carmen Lauber, who is accused of supplying Richins with illicit substances, including, coincidentally, fentanyl. The detective stated that he believed Lauber was downplaying her role, but after 4 interviews, investigators determined that she allegedly obtained prescription or non-prescription opioids for Richins along with counterfeit fentanyl pills. Now, the detective testified that while each transaction likely involved 15 to 30 pills, investigators have not recovered any pills and could not test those pills to determine what they actually were. The detective said that he couldn't definitively state that Richins gave fentanyl to her husband. Reasonable doubt, maybe at the trial level. Doesn't really matter at this stage. Anyway, the defense intends to call 2 witnesses while the prosecution intends to call 4. In addition to the charge of aggravated murder, assault, and drug-related offenses, Ms. Richins faces charges of mortgage fraud, forgery, and insurance fraud for allegedly forgiving loan applications and making fraudulent insurance claims. We'll have to wait and see, but I'm pretty sure the judge is going to find there's sufficient evidence for the case to proceed to trial. Next on the docket, my favorite case, Alec Murdaugh. Okay, and guess what? I am heading to the great state of South Carolina to spend the holiday weekend down there. I love South Carolina. It is my adopted home state. And we are going to be a heartbeat away from Alec Murdaugh's residence. I think we're going to stop by, even though it's going to be a side of the road, get my picture, maybe go to the old Colleton County Courthouse. And guess what? Alec Murdaugh is so going to get a new trial. So 2 jurors from the Alec Murdaugh murder trial have come forward to share their behind-the-scenes happening of what exactly went on in that South Carolina trial. Now, these 2 jurors are known. First one is known as the egg juror because when she was abruptly dismissed from the case, and then we have Juror Z, the only deliberating juror who admitted her guilty verdict was influenced by the clerk of the court, Becky Hill. Now, the egg juror says that she feels like she was targeted. Apparently, Miss Hill, the clerk, asked her on several occasions what her opinion was and kept constantly giving the answer that she was undecided. Well, what Becky did was not right, Juror Z told the reporter, disclosing that Miss Hill talked and interacted with the jurors in the jury room. She made it seem like he was already guilty. Now, the egg juror, who earned her name after telling the judge that she had left a dozen eggs in the jury room, believes the presiding judge made a mistake by dismissing her from the case. Now, the 2 jurors go into detail about what Hill did to put the verdict in question in a new documentary that's titled The Fall of the House of Murdaugh, From Egg to Z. Yeah. A to Z, get it? Anyway, Attorney General Creighton Waters has told the jurors that the disbarred attorney obviously committed murder at his hunting estate to stave off devastating financial reckoning that was coming due in regards to basically cheating and fraudulently stealing clients' money. Anyway, following the trial, the jury returned a guilty verdict after less than 3 hours of deliberations, and obviously he was sentenced to multiple life sentences in prison, not to mention his other fraud cases in the state court, as well as the federal sentence as well. However, since the verdict was handed down, let's say there's been issues with it. Well, now Murdaugh is seeking a new trial, arguing that Becky Hill influenced the jury, and the South Carolina Supreme Court has agreed to take on Murdaugh's appeal on jury tampering allegations. The clerk, Ms. Hill, resigned earlier this year amid the allegations she faced and is now the subject of 2 investigations by the South Carolina Attorney General's office because, she was kind of doing this little side hustle, writing her book, trying to get the results she wanted, looking for 15 minutes of fame, cash out, get rich, and maybe try to influence the proceedings. Hey, it's South Carolina. What can you expect? It seems like, and I love South Carolina. I do. Never practiced law there. I was always in the military when I was a lawyer in South Carolina, so I didn't really get to go practice outside of observing a couple of proceedings. but it really seems like it's a good old boy network down there. It really, really does. I don't know, but I just love the state. Seriously, love the state. Going to go check it out. And I think no matter what you think about Alec Murdaugh, he's entitled to a fair trial. And when you have a clerk actively trying to influence jurors, game over, do a do-over. We'll see. The fact that the South Carolina Supreme Court took the case up on appeal, I think shows that there is some merit to that claim. Next, let me give you a reason why you need to go to crimetalksearch.com and get your background subscription service today. All right, when you have a background subscription service through crimetalksearch.com, you can do as many background searches as you would like. And guess what? You get the search literally while you wait. It only takes a few minutes. You're going to get information as to whether this person is a felon. Is he on some sort of public registry, or she? Have they filed for bankruptcy? Do they have judgments against them? Are they married? Are they divorced? Those little things that you may want to know about people coming into your life, ladies and gentlemen, go to crimetalksearch.com. All right, a man is behind bars after allegedly raping a woman at gunpoint in his Ohio home. Now, Mario Rodriguez Ibarra was arrested Friday, and the criminal complaint alleged that the victim told police that she and Ibarra had spoken on Facebook before they arranged to come to his house to give her a tattoo. Now, Ibarra and a male acquaintance reportedly picked the woman up, who has not been publicly identified, from her home and drove to Ibarra's house, according to the probable cause affidavit. And when the woman was in Ibarra's bedroom, he allegedly pulled out a gun and pulled her clothes off and then raped her. Now, the woman told police that Ibarra fell asleep and that when she got dressed and she then walked out of the house. She then asked the male acquaintance for help. According to the arrest affidavit, the acquaintance allegedly called the police and waited with the woman until officers arrived. Now, the acquaintance also told police that while he was waiting for police to arrive, Ibarra walked outside and admitted he used a gun to force the woman into having sex with him, according to the arrest affidavit. Wow. Anyway, court records show that he has been charged with rape and kidnapping, and he has a preliminary hearing scheduled for this Friday. Now, Mr. Ibarra is in custody being held without a bond. You got to check people out before you meet them on Facebook, ladies and gentlemen. Who knows what Facebook is suppressing? You never know. You never know what they're suppressing. They admitted they do it, so you just never know. Be careful. And next, yes, we have a woman pretending to be a Russian police officer. That's right. A woman was arrested this week for allegedly claiming she was a Russian police officer while attempting to kidnap a young girl who was helping out a neighbor. Now, according to the Santa Monica Police Department, on Wednesday, August 21st, about 2:30 p.m., officers received a call from someone who said there was a suspicious person in the alley who tried running away with an 8-year-old girl. A second person called police and said the suspect ran toward a grocery store parking lot. When the officers responded to the parking lot there, they found Courtney Perrone standing next to a vehicle, and a witness reportedly positively identified Ms. Perrone as the alleged attempted kidnapper. Now, police said the girl was assisting her neighbor put pets in her car when Perrone allegedly approached them, saying that she was a Russian police officer and that she was just simply taking the child. Now, Perrone allegedly wrapped her arms around the girl, which caused a tug-of-war between the neighbor and Ms. Perrone. And the neighbor freed the girl and put her in the front seat of the car. But Perrone allegedly tried to open the door. Perrone reportedly pulled out a switchblade and then fled. Now, according to the police, Ms. Perrone was homeless and living out of her car. And there are reportedly several warrants for her arrest in other states for assault and battery, resisting arrest, possession of a controlled substance, and trespassing. She apparently is also on probation for a conviction for assault with a deadly weapon in Nevada. So she has an extensive history of assault with a deadly weapon, also in Los Angeles, where she was released because there was insufficient evidence. Now, she's been arrested on charges of attempted kidnapping and false imprisonment. Both are felonies, as well as brandishing a knife, a misdemeanor. Ladies and gentlemen, if you don't think it can happen to you, it can happen anywhere. You have to be aware of your surroundings. Be careful. Had somebody today that came from another country, and said that crime in America, they always thought America was safe. And she said all these kidnappings and things like that remind her of a third world country from where she came. You know, things are getting bad, ladies and gentlemen. Be careful. Be aware of your surroundings. Protect yourself. And finally, our dumb criminal of the day. All right, a Minnesota wedding photographer apparently hid a camera in a bridal suite and surreptitiously recorded a woman who was getting dressed for her wedding day, obviously down to her underwear, and her bare breasts were being exposed prior to taking her nuptials. Well, police learned of the video of this voyeurism when the photographer's wife recently provided those photos with a thumb drive containing the video as well as other sexual conduct material that is not further detailed. My guess, though, it's going to involve some sort of voyeurism or some sort of children, but we'll give them the presumption of innocence. Anyway, upon examining the video, investigators were able to identify the bride, who was secretly filmed at a wedding venue in Minneapolis or near Minneapolis. And the video, taken from a very low angle, was shown to the 27-year-old victim, who confirmed that she was in fact being recorded. Now, the victim, identified as Mitchell Ringness, as the still photographer, adding that he was not hired to do videography or a boudoir photography either. Now, the woman gave police photos from her October 20 wedding that showed Ringness' camera bag with something sticking out. On the seized video, someone can be heard calling the photographer by his first name, Mitchell. Now, Mr. Ringness runs Mr. Photography, a Duluth-based business whose website promises to provide you with timeless yet captivating photos and videos that will do justice to your uniquely perfect love story. And while I'm doing just that, we'll go to have a blast along the way. And I wonder if he goes to the groom and says, "Hey, have you got any naked photos of your bride-to-be?" And the groom says, "No." And then he says, "Want to buy some?" I wonder if that's what he does. Anyway, Mr. Ringness was charged Thursday with interfering with privacy, a misdemeanor, and carries a maximum of 364 days of jail and a $3,000 fine. Now, he's scheduled to appear in court in September, and we'll kind of keep an eye on this one for him. I wonder if he's going to like being photographed coming in and out of court like that. He may get to take a few intimate moments where people are watching him without him knowing it when he's taking his shower in custody. Anyway, that's all we have for you today. Thanks for watching. Please join us tonight, 6 p.m. Mountain Time. We'll go live, our Tuesday Night Live program. So thanks for watching us, and have a wonderful day. And remember, the Constitution matters.